right, good afternoon, and we're starting off, of course, with our street flood advisory that's been issued for a lot of New Orleans, the southern kind of end of New Orleans from Carrollton to the uptown area and Audubon over toward the French Quarter and south along the West Bank, Gretna, Marrero, Algiers, Terrytown. A lot of you looking at that street flood advisory. You know the spots, those low intersections, those low-lying areas in your neighborhood or where you typically drive that tend to fill up with water. We really still have some pockets of this storm that are bringing 2+ inches per hour. So if we do continue, you can see why we will easily rack up the rain. Although it looks like it is weakening in some parts of the storm, especially along the West Bank, it's still very heavy over New Orleans, and we're seeing a little more lightning actually over the uptown area. So this is something that might cause some flooding issues in the streets for those of you around, again, uptown and parts of the city. Now, it is also expanding northward a little bit. These are outflow boundaries. These are strong wind gusts, not severe wind gusts, but wind gusts up to maybe 30 or so miles per hour generated from this storm. And we are seeing some stormy conditions along the coast too, especially outside of Cocodrie, and a little bit of rain over parts of St. Tammany Parish. So when you look at the overall radar scene, there's not widespread rain for all across our spots, but we are seeing that heavy downpour right over New Orleans. And that might be the case into the next few days, where it's kind of hit or miss. But where it does fall, it could be pretty heavy. Now, looking at your hour-by-hour forecast through this evening, temperatures going down through the 80s. Our high-resolution model showing the rain chances, as you saw with your planner there, still there through about 4 and 5 p.m. But as we see often during the summer when we lose daytime heating by about 7 and 8 o'clock, things should be quieting down. So overnight, pretty quiet aside from some coastal storms. Early tomorrow, that will be the main thing. Rain probably closer to the coast, but being formed later in the day over land areas. Now, this is tomorrow, Wednesday. Note our high-resolution model doesn't have as much rain around, but it might be kind of like today, where it does fall, as I said, it could be pretty heavy. So this is the kind of pattern that we'll be in as we head into this week. Again, looking out across the river from the West Bank, just a slate of gray because of the heavy rain falling right now. Temperatures in the 80s, but feeling like closer to 100. And it is pretty hot where we have not gotten the rain so far. Today we'll say highs greatly dependent on whether you get one of these downpours at the right time or not, but probably in the lower 90s for the day for most of us. And tonight we're back in the 70s. Now, I know you want to hear about the tropical disturbance that's in the northern Gulf, but there's not that much change actually since yesterday or even since late Sunday. There's been about a 30% low chance of development for this, meaning developing into a depression or storm. So really, we're still kind of looking at the same sort of thing that we've been saying for a few days. It might develop. It looks likely, though, that it will probably stay a messy system. Either way, the main thing is going to be some pockets of heavy rain. So still quite messy. Main issue all the way through the weekend will be the hit or miss downpours. Now, it looks like 2 to 4 inches for most, but some higher totals, and in fact, maybe even much higher totals, will be possible isolated. So not all of us will get really high amounts of rain, but it does look like that will be a possibility somewhere along the Gulf Coast with the flooding rains a concern. Now, something interesting today, just to kind of keep you up to date on what we're seeing with the models, the GFS model all the way through the weekend from today for the next several days through the weekend only has about 2 inches or so of rain. The European model, same thing. So this is a different trend from what we were seeing a day or so ago, where they had some really high totals, if you remember, along the coast, up to 6, 8+ inches or so. So we're seeing things change, and they will continue to change because that system is just so messy. For now, I would plan on the hit or miss downpours, at least some high totals possible, but a lot of us, again, looking for a kind of reasonable 2 to 4 or so inches through the weekend. We'll have more updates on that system.